All right, future CPAs, welcome to day number 4 of the 5-day challenge to passing the CPA exam. So today we're going to be learning how to tie everything that you've learned together just in time to pass your next section. So at this point, you have executed on your perfect plan. You've hit your study milestones and completed the learning phase. So what do you do in the final 10 to 14 days before your exam to tie everything together? I want to introduce you to study funnels. And today's training is incredibly important for one reason. So the final 10 to 14 days before your next exam are crucial. So please watch this training to avoid screwing it up like I did. And really, to tie all this together, we will do a quick recap of day 1 to 3. We're going to be going over the final review phase versus the learning phase. We're going to discover what is a study funnel, and then we'll learn how do you implement them with your course. So we'll be doing a live demo. And then we're going to complete a study funnel planner for you. Now, if you haven't caught up on all the other challenge videos, again, please, you can find them below this video. So there's links that you can start from day 1, 2, and 3 to quickly catch up. But if you've already watched them, let's do a quick recap. So starting with planning. So day 1, we covered planning. So we determined that your mental mindset is the key to passing when things get tough. And this is definitely the first thing that we want to address to make sure you have the proper motivation to keep moving forward no matter what happens. Next, we learned how to schedule a brand new section and also prep for how to schedule a retake just in case. And then finally, we worked through the 9-month CPA exam pass plan for you and then got hard dates on your calendar. And we also learned, pro tip here, you only sign up for 1 to 2 sections at a time so that you can remain flexible just in case. Because again, you don't want to lock yourself into multiple sections in a row. And then say you fail your second exam, it'll be months before you can even get to your retake. So that's not ideal. So again, sign up for 1 to 2 sections at a time, fill out your section planner, and you'll be good to go. All right, day 2 of the challenge was huge. So we learned how to take your perfect passing plan and then create the space in your busy schedule to hit your study milestones with my life audit exercise. So again, the life audit, this is the key to making the CPA exam a priority and making the right temporary sacrifices so that you can hit our goal of fitting in around 20 hours of study time per week. And yes, we learned even if you are working full time, that this is something that you can and should do. Okay, finally, during day 3, we learned how to grasp what you learn, understand what you study, and then retain it for weeks on end. And really, we tied everything together with days 1 and 2 here, because once you have crafted the perfect plan for your CPA exam journey and made the space in your schedule to follow it, you just need to learn how to study and use that time efficiently and effectively. So we learned that study loops are the key to defeating the curve of forgetting. And the only way to do this is to learn new material, consistently review everything you've learned up to that point, highlight areas that you don't understand to then review more later, and then repeat this process over and over for the entire learning phase. And then finally, we created a custom study loop plan for your next section and then showed you how to use how Kessler CPA Review automates this entire process. Okay. And if you stuck with me through this challenge, then you know my story by now and that my entire career, heck, my life changed as a result of passing the CPA exam. But it was only because I took the time, like you are right now, to learn how every step in the process works and not blindly following a generic study planner from a big box CPA review course. And trust me, if I can tailor this process for my situation, I know you can as well, which is why today's training is crucial. So final review is where everything comes together. So what is final review? It's the point where you have completed learning new material, or what we call the study looping phase, and you start tying everything together. And I call this study funneling. So you funnel out what you know and focus all of your remaining time on the areas that you're struggling. Which brings us to a big question. How do you figure out where you are weakest? What I recommend is that you use a mixture of adaptive learning and manual targeting of difficult areas that you have tracked from the beginning of the study looping phase. And the next question, what the heck is adaptive learning? Adaptive learning is one technique for providing personalized learning, which aims to provide efficient, effective, and customized learning paths to engage each student. So using this technology allows you to quickly assess your weaknesses, and creates a custom study plan for you to follow during final review. And don't worry, it's not that complicated. So here's how this process works inside of Kessler CPA Review. All right, welcome back to Kessler CPA Review. So the first thing I want to discuss is that, yes, within Ultimate CPA Exam Guide, which is our mentorship program, we have dedicated final review study funnel training. So this video, 27 minutes, goes into my philosophy, step-by-step instructions over everything that you need to know about study funnels and how they really tie everything together just in time for exam day. We also have a best practices tutorial. So this is going to be a 17-minute video teaching you how to implement study funnels with Kessler CPA Review. And then on top of that, we have specific tutorials for each big box CPA review course, how to implement study loops and study funnels with each of these courses. So this is perfect if you aren't using Kessler CPA's test bank at the time, and maybe you want to use a big box course to implement study funnels just for the time being. So again, we try to teach you how to use all the various technology that's out there. It's really important to understand how to cut the fluff, how to avoid the busy work so that you're focusing only on your weakest areas during this process. And that's what this mentorship training is designed to do, along with teach you everything you need to know about passing the CPA exam, all the way from the mental prep to helping you avoid the loony bin, right? All the way up to score release day for each exam and beyond. So again, complete mentorship coaching training that will teach you everything on how to actually pass. Now, what do you actually need to know in order to pass? So that is the question of the day, right? So inside of Kessler CPA Review, we have our beautiful dashboard here, which is going to be tracking your results. So we'll be, as you answer more content, it's going to be updating your study plan progress. We'll have your percentile rank against the community, your average score on practice sessions, your average score on mock exams. And then in real time, we're going to be tracking your strengths and weaknesses. So obviously, this is going to be a very crucial dashboard for you to review as you dig into the final review study funnel phase, because you're wanting to find those areas where you aren't quite as proficient. So what do you do with all this data? There's a couple different things that I recommend. So within the study plan, you can actually turn on what's called the study funnel adaptive plan. So switch to adaptive plan. And the first step will be to take a study funnel assessment. So this is going to be giving the system data points. So it will randomly be asking you around probably 60 questions, 60 to 70 questions. It will give you random topics to be tested on. And based on your results, it's going to prioritize the areas on the blueprints that you need to be focusing your time. So this is one automated way to isolate the areas where you're scoring the weakest and then deprioritize the areas that you probably have a good, strong understanding of. And so once it's determined, then the areas and topics, they'll be reorganized based on what the system recommends. And then you'll be given study tasks. So you can answer questions, you can study our Kessler cards. So everything is assigned by knowledge set. And again, it's all based off of knowledge set priorities that are based off of your initial assessment. So you'll want to be able to complete this first and then go through the study funnel adaptive plan. But if you're like me, you don't trust the robots, the machines, they're not totally trustworthy. So you want to also utilize the Kessler Q custom practice functionality. So like I showed you before, you're going to know where on the blueprints you're struggling, where you're more beginner, basic, intermediate when you hit the learning phase. So the first thing you want to do is say today's date is the 16th. You finished study looping, but your exam is on the 28th. So we'll update the study plan to the 28th. And then based on the progress that you've made, either you can reset all the data, start over, or you can take, if you've only completed part of the test bank, then you can keep it as is and then utilize the adaptive plan based off of what you haven't completed just yet. So there's a few different options. And of course, we're going to provide you with training inside of Ultimate CPA Exam Guide on what to do. And then you dive into the Kessler Qs, go to custom practice, and then go to choose the type, difficulty, and number of questions. So at this point, I would prefer that you keep a separate tab open. So you go to home, scroll on down. So you know area 1A, you're scoring a lot weaker. So you need to focus time on that. So go to choose the type, difficulty, and number of questions. So we know A1A, we want to hit on as many of these as possible. So you can filter by easy, moderate, difficult, and expert. But at the study funnel phase, you're definitely going to be wanting to try to master these expert level questions. So that's the goal, because if you've been following the study looping process, you'll have been reviewing over and over and over, and you should have a fairly strong understanding of everything. So A1D, we'll just say that we need to focus on that as well. And so A2B, we haven't even touched that yet. So obviously we want to include that as well. As you can see here, I'm basically highlighting the areas that I know I need to focus on first, and then going down and creating a practice exam. So this pulls in 51 questions for me to complete. And so you can rank your own confidence level here. And I'll show you in a moment what that does. It's totally optional to do, but it's helpful if, especially if it's on a question that you don't really know. That's typically how I would recommend that you use it. And I'll show you why here in a moment. So let's just do one more and be done. Okay. So now that we've completed those, we can go in and review them by area. So we can see, okay, yeah, A1D, we did 100% of those, but got 0% complete. Hey, A2B, we got one correct. But still, you want to review these areas individually and review the questions and be like, okay, why did I get this question wrong? And really dig into that. If it's something that isn't explained well enough in the question explanation, then go to a different source and research it a little bit further, or go to our study group and ask the question in there. You can also leave a digital note. So say, hey, research later, and then add it, and then click done reviewing. So once you're done reviewing, and then say you take the day off and come back later, you go to Kessler Q's, go to confidence levels, and hey, you've marked 2 questions as lower confidence. So let's go back to those questions. So then you can dig into those. You can, let's see, I think, yeah, here we go. You can dig into the high confidence ones, low confidence, and so forth. Okay, so then back to study funnels. So yes, so we have the study funnel adaptive plan. So I highly recommend utilizing that to rearrange everything based on where you need to be focusing your time. Then you also need to utilize the custom practice to do manual assessments over everything as well. And there's some more functionality here that I want to point out. So say you've got 2 hours of study. So why not create a random custom practice quiz of 60 questions? So this is going to pull in questions from all the different topics that are out there, and it gives a pretty even spread between every possible topic. And this is, again, a great way for you to assess where you're performing weaker, where you're performing stronger, and where to focus your time. So then you can go exam mode. That way it's treating it like a real exam. You can do a timed session if you know you only have 1 hour, and so forth. And then, yeah. So then the other piece is that once you have identified the topics, it'd be great to dig into say you're really struggling with area 2, then you can just create a custom flashcard deck where you can go through our Kessler Qs. And there's also an adaptive mode on the flashcard. So once you've given the system enough data, then it will give you an adaptive mode for flashcards and send you questions that it believes you should be looking at. So yeah, super powerful system here for implementing study funnels. You have an automated option with the study funnel adaptive mode, and then the custom option with custom practice and the Kessler cards. So hopefully this was helpful. Let's dive back into the slides and wrap up the training. Okay, so at this point you have 2 options. So one, take the easy route and sign up for the 14-day trial of Kessler CPA Review and use our automated and manual study funnel systems to complete this easy peasy. Or you can download the Day 4 Study Funnel Planner and complete the final review phase homework and do it manually with your big box course. So here's how the planner works. So basically you're going to set up a 14-day plan, and you can either use my methodology here of turning on adaptive learning and then take study funnel assessments and all that sort of stuff, or you can do it all manually and just take practice quizzes over everything. You can look at your existing analytics, identify your weakest areas, look through your notes and all that sort of stuff. But the key is to continually just go out there, test the waters, see what's sticking, what isn't sticking. Once you find something that isn't sticking, really dig deep into the source material on those areas and make sure you understand them. So you know what the most difficult concepts are that are being tested. So just dig into them as best as you can. And then by day 3 before your exam, that's when you start transitioning into mock exams. And again, mock exams, they aren't graded the same way as the real CPA exam. So again, use them as training. So think of this as you're training for a 100-meter sprint. So you do practice sprints, right? You're not just going to go do 400-meter sprints to train for 100-meter. You're going to do 100-meter sprints, right? So you take the mock exam, look at it as a time management practice. Start taking some breaks after each testlet, see which one feels better. Maybe you skip some breaks because you don't want to break your focus. And anything you can think of to test, that's the time to do it to prepare for the real prometric exam experience. Then day 2, again, review high level materials. Day 1 before your exam, really try to mentally rest as much as you can. And again, review high level materials because at this point, you've done everything you can to learn the material. It's just a matter of resting before the big fight night, right? So then it's Prometric Center Day and you go forward and go for it. So again, it wasn't until I discovered study funneling with the right technology did I finally crack the code to understanding how to pass. And so the worst thing that you can do is to not create a final review plan, which is why I love the study funneling process. It's done for you. It's all step by step, and you know you're covering your bases. Okay, so what's coming up next? So the next step in your journey begins on day 5. So day 5 is all about maintaining your momentum until you pass. So how do you maintain this high level of intensity no matter what happens on your journey? So you're going to be learning the process that we use to help busy candidates become CPAs. So watch your email inbox for day number 5 being announced, or you can skip to the bottom of the page and take a sneak peek for yourself if you're super motivated and want to dive into day number 5 ahead of schedule. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed the study funneling process. The key is, again, just have a plan. It needs to be step by step. It needs to dig into your weakest areas, and you need to tie everything together just in time for your exam. So I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you on the next video.